Hey everyone, welcome to Logan's Mosh Pit. Glad to have you here. Do me a favor and please subscribe if you haven't already. Today we're going to do another episode of the Gear is Here series. Today I would like to present some juicy details about my amp. I've mentioned it frequently in other videos and you've obviously heard it a lot, but I've never actually shown the amp to you. Today will be the big reveal. Before we go any further, I want to say that this video was requested by my buddy, Brandon. Great guy with even greater hair. He always has my back. I can always count on Brandon. One of my biggest supporters. He's uploaded some awesome content too. I'll link his channel in the description. Go check out Brandon's channel. Show him some love. Anyway, back to the task at hand. This amp. I will explain how I got it, run through the specs, and give you a full tour all the way around as I talk about how I use this amp. Starting with how I acquired this beastly thing. It was a birthday gift from my dad. He noticed how serious I was getting about jamming on my guitar, so he hunted down a Marshall SL5/Signature amp for me in November 2018. So it's almost 3 years old. I don't recall the exact price he paid off the top of my head, but I think it was in the $700 range. It's funny because my dad actually wanted an upgrade too. He owned a Fender DeVille amp for a long time, so he purchased his own amp. At first he said he wanted something different than mine. He didn't want the same kind. Then after he tested it out, he changed his mind. He took back what he said. I wish I bought your amp instead. Of course, he's welcome to use this amp whenever he wants, so that kind of eliminates the problem. Are you ready? Brace yourselves. Dun 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 dun! Woo! There she is. Ain't she a beauty? I'm going to stay behind the camera. Now on to some specs. I won't share every spec. I don't want to bore you. If you want to read the full specs, visit the link in the description. Like I said, the full name is a Marshall SL5/Signature amp. Let's zoom in on Slash's signature right here to prove this is the real deal. This amp comes equipped with 3 ECC83 preamp tubes alongside one EL34 power tube. What does that mean in English? I have no idea. A Celestion Vintage 30 speaker sends sound waves out. The speaker itself can emit either 8 or 16 ohms of power. Finally, the Slash amp gives users a choice. Simply by flicking a switch located on the back, the output changes from 1 watt to 5 watts. 5 watts sounds much louder than 1 watt. If you want to make your neighbors hate you, leave the amp at 1 watt. If you really want to make your neighbors hate you, bump the amp up to 5 watts. Finally, I'll end the video by discussing how I use the Slash amp. It sits in this spot, only takes up a little bit of space, pretty easy to move, not too heavy. I usually leave it set to 1 watt, which is more than enough. 5 watts hurts my ears. Here's the switch I mentioned on the back. Lets you switch between 1 watt and 5 watts. Up front we have 2 different input holes. The other end of the cable goes into the guitar. A volume knob. Gain. Another volume knob. The left volume knob covers clean tones and the right volume knob handles distorted tones. Next to that there's treble, middle, and bass, which basically lets an individual mess with the highs, mid-ranges, and lows of the sound quality. The far right offers reverb to produce an echo effect, presence, which improves high frequencies, and the power button over here. To turn the amp on, I flick the switch down. To turn the amp off, I flick the switch halfway up. And flicking the switch up to standby will warm the amp up. Let me show you the sides and back real quick. Solid black, super sleek. Not much going on, just various cord connections. As I circle back to the front, let me wrap this up by telling you what settings I play with before recording a guitar video. Well, it depends on the riff. For a nice clean riff, I just turn the amp on and possibly adjust the volume. That's it. However, for heavier riffs, I move to OD, or overdrive. Crucial step. Then I move the volume where I want it. Each knob has 10 dots. Think of them as levels. The higher you go, the more powerful the effect gets. Gain tends to remain in the 6 to 8 range, reverb at a 5 if need be. After that, I'm fine. I'll probably leave everything else alone. No reason to get too sophisticated. I prefer to keep things basic. I'm incredibly pleased with the sound that comes from my Marshall SL5/Signature amp. Hopefully it will continue to make me proud. Well, that's it. Do you like my amp? Let me know in the comments below. That does it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. I really appreciate the support. I'll see you next time. Until then, rock on.